Hello, everyone. We'll see if my microphone lasts through this entire video. Also, thanks my camera for pointing out that my eyebrows and beard are indeed very red. So, I haven't made a video in a little while. I think that I need to stop apologizing for that because life gets in the way. So, here I am anyway. I have been super hella busy with different things, most of which enrich my life. Um, so I don't know if this really counts as a 100 video, but it does a little bit because I want to talk about what I have been struggling with, which isn't necessarily witchcraft related, but it is a little bit. So I am a person who has experienced a lot of trauma in my life. And as a result of that, I am constantly doing what we call rushing. And I'm anxious quite often, but I rush through literally everything. I rush to get places. When I'm there, I have to keep moving. I find it really hard to rest. And there's a lot of really good literature and therapeutic approach to resting and how resting is a radical act, which is hard for us to unlearn in our capitalism based society. However, my nervous system is so incredibly wrecked that it doesn't know what rest is. And when I start to feel as if I might possibly be resting, I then get even more anxious and my heart rate ramps up. And sometimes I'll be laying flat and it's over 100. And I think this is a 100 video because I want people to know when they're starting out that you don't need to rush through stuff. I know if you're ambitious and you want to learn all the things and you want to do all the things and make all the things, that's great. But I also want to point out that I'm going to say practicing with a label because I've been kind of doing this my whole life, but practicing with a label for, ooh, I think 12 years about at this point. And there's still a lot of stuff that I was under the impression that beginners needed to know. And you can begin whenever you want, but there's still so much stuff that I am not experienced with. And stuff like tarot and astrology in particular are such huge undertakings that you're probably going to learn new stuff years and years down the road. Um, and that's good and that's great because there's always more to learn. And you're not going to finish learning, maybe ever. But that's what makes this such a great experience. Why are you biting me? So I just want to let everybody know that you don't need to rush to learn it all. And in fact, learning a little bit about a lot of things is great. Learning a lot about a few things is also great, as long as you're learning. And you're going to have so much more energy to put into the things that you like and enjoy if you take the time to rest before you hit that burnout. Now, I can't come on here and talk about how not to get burned out per se because I've been burnt out my whole life. And I'm struggling to get back to a place where I'm not burned out and what that feels like. But if it starts to feel taxing or you hit a spot where you're bored with a certain thing, I think I've mentioned this in another video. Follow what you're interested in. And if that takes you all over the board, great. Like I say, jack of all trades. And, you know, it's great to know little bits where you can get them. And it'll come full circle when you're years down the road and you are learning something completely different, and then it comes back up and you're like, oh my god, I remember. So like say you're studying numerology right now, and then when you're advanced at your tarot and astrology and symbolism and synchronicities and etc., you're going to come back to your base of numerology knowledge, for example, and it's going to be really incredibly helpful. So take it easy, give yourself grace, give yourself time, and follow that little spark of inspiration. Um, yeah, I think that's the message for today. And also pet a cat if you have one close to you. Just because. This message is brought to you by Minnow, who really enjoys pets. And I will see everybody in the next video. Bye, y'all.